What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for pressing play. Today we are going to be talking about the C8 Corvette ZORA. Yeah, the ZORA. And how it is over at the Nurburgring right now, and it's hiding some secrets. Let's jump right into it. So before we start, guys, I already know the conversation. I already know what's going to happen in the comment section. It's going to be like, how are we talking about the ZORA and the ZR1's not even out yet? Well, this is how GM seems to like to do it with the C8 Corvette lineup, because they did the same thing with the E-Ray right after the Z06, and those things hadn't even started hitting the street yet, and all of a sudden we were seeing E-Rays. So this doesn't really come as a surprise to me that we're already talking about the next performance variant, but there's a couple things that are still a little murky with this car as to what we're going to actually be getting here. So let's go over some of the information that has been discovered from the guys over at the Corvette Blogger and the Mid-Engine Corvette Forum. All right, so here we are over at the Corvette Blogger, and as you can see, we have right off the bat spied the C8 Corvette ZORA prototypes take to the Nurburgring as sticker shows electrification warning. And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about here. How do we know this is a ZORA? Well, for me, there's two different reasons. And one of them is that you can see the battery cooler radiator up front on the driver's side in the air duct area right underneath the driver's side headlight. But the other one is this car's wrapped in camo. Why would this thing be wrapped in camo when we already know what the ZR1's going to look like? So obviously you could tell from the picture here at the Corvette Blogger, this is in fact the ZR1 body. It's the ZR1 wheels, the ZTK wing in the back, the ZTK splitter and dive planes up front. This is the ZTK ZR1, but why does it have an electrification sticker warning on it at the Nurburgring? Also, why is it still wrapped in camo? Before we continue, guys, I want to mention real quick the sponsor of today's video, and that is the guys over at Phantom Wallets. They are making some of the coolest current day kind of wallets out there right now. As you can see, I have three different versions here. This one I'm pointing out is the carbon fiber version. It is the Phantom M. And the way that these things work is you take all of your credit cards and you can load them in just like this, and you are good to go. You push this little lever here and you get a really cool fanning mechanism. So if you wanted to select one of the cards in the middle, you just pull those down and easily slide out the one you want. You can slide it right back in the same way. Really, really a cool kind of setup. But the coolest part about this, the Phantom M wallet, is if you have an iPhone 12 and up, you can actually stick it to the back with the MagSafe capability and it is not going anywhere. Now, this is really cool if you have an iPhone, but what if you don't have an iPhone? You're probably saying, well, they make a wallet for that too, and that is the Phantom X wallet, which as you can see is basically the same design, only on the back there is more carbon fiber and it is just a standalone wallet. Now, as you can see, it comes in a couple different colors. I obviously prefer the carbon fiber, but it also does come in like a wood grain kind of color, and there's a couple other ones available on the website as well. Guys, you're going to save some money if you want to grab one of these from the link in the description down below. All carbon fiber, all aluminum made, really, really lightweight, super high quality. It is the next gen kind of wallet. So obviously this is the ZORA. This is the next iteration in the C8 Corvette lineup, but there's a couple things that really make this unclear as to exactly what this car is going to be, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But moving on with the Corvette Blogger article here, it starts with saying the Corvette engineers have returned to the Nurburgring, and with them for this time go around is the upcoming C8 Corvette ZORA. There are two clues that tell us that these are indeed the ZORA models. First, by the inclusion of the vertically mounted cooling radiator on the front driver's side corner that is specific to the E-Ray's E all-wheel drive cooling loop. The second clue is the most telling, as vehicles with hybrid/EV battery packs are required to carry an official Nurburgring warning sticker to alert first responders that the car is electrified. You can see those yellow stickers on the back engine hatches of the ZORA prototypes when they aren't blocked from the view by the huge rear ZTK wing. And no, to answer your next question, we have not seen any photos of the 2025 Corvette ZR1, which engineers said would also be making a return to the famous German track to finish up development testing. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it is there with the engineering team and that GM will be able to run an unimpeded hot lap with America's latest King of the Hill. Now, if you guys hadn't heard about that, we did talk about this briefly in our Monday Night Live videos where the ZR1 was supposed to go back over to the Nurburgring, but it was unlikely that they were going there to set any kind of records or to even time anything. They were really going there for specifically testing, apparently. So I don't think I would hold my breath to get any kind of Nurburgring lap times out of either one of these two cars. I think it is mostly a testing kind of thing. But at the same time, seeing these ZORA cars over there doing their thing is really telling, considering, like I said earlier, we don't even know the price of the ZR1 yet, and we're already talking about the ZORA. Moving on in the Corvette Blogger article, though, you can see the picture of the C8 Corvette ZORA showing the all-wheel drive cooling aspect right up front. Of course, this is the same radiator, like they said earlier in the article, that does come with the E-Ray, so we know exactly what that is and exactly what it's there to do. It's to keep that battery pack cool. Moving on, the article says the 4 Corvette ZORAs spied at the Nurburgring are all coupes with the ZTK high wing, and once again, we see the special test pipes on the car to direct the sound of the Corvette's exhaust downward so it doesn't run afoul of the acceptable track noise levels. All 4 ZORA models were wearing the ZR1's bodywork, which includes the flow-through front hood and the additional rear air intakes on the sides and rear of the cars. Each of the cars is also wearing the black ZR1 forged aluminum wheels. And finally, each of the 4 cars can be identified by numbers posted on the side and front window, and they are numbered 20, 24, 69, and 85. Our Nurburgring spy photographer captured the 4 prototypes making the trek from Corvette's secret lair back to the racetrack, and we get some great on-track photos as ZORA enters and exits the famous carousel. So again, guys, these photos look identical to the ZR1. The only difference is that all-wheel drive cooler up front for the battery pack, and that's pretty much it. Outside of that, you got your camo wrap, which is, of course, conveniently covering the rear window, so we don't know what engine this car has, but that's going to be something else we can speculate later on in this video on. Moving on, the conventional wisdom of those following the development of the C8s is that the ZORA will be the top dog of the C8 era. The model's namesake honors the first Corvette chief engineer ZORA Arkus Duntov, who famously wanted to move the Corvette to a mid-engine platform in the late 50s. The ZORA is expected to have the ZR1's twin-turbocharged LT7 combined with the E-Race front hybrid all-wheel drive system that combined would generate a total of 1,224 horsepower, which is freaking insane. Of course, GM would have another quote-unquote unthinkable moment on their hands, so at this point, it is okay to expect the unexpected. Our spy photographer is also working to get a video of the C8 ZORAs, but says that the weather forecast isn't the best at the moment. He also confirms that the engineers are expected to be at the track until the end of next week, so hopefully there will be plenty of great weather to come. Stefan also says the blue Corvette Z06 is at the track with the Corvette team, which will be used by the German magazine Sport Auto. In the meantime, enjoy these first spy shots of the C8 Corvette ZORA at the Nurburgring. Now, again, guys, this thing looks just like the ZR1. There's not much new to see here. In this photo here, you do actually see the really interesting downward angled exhaust tips that also seem to have a little bit of a muffler on them. They're kind of funny looking. But anyway, moving on with the other shots here, again, all pretty much the same, minus that E all-wheel drive cooler in the front. Now, where things start to get interesting for me is why they would have that back window completely camoed up. We've already seen the LT7 engine. We've already seen the ZR1. What exactly are they hiding behind that camo? Now, if you guys remember, I made a video not too long ago talking about the C8 Corvette ZR1 being the highest priced C8 Corvette performance variant that Chevy is going to make for the C8 lineup. It's that simple. The ZR1 will be the most expensive. So how do they take the ZR1 car, add an E all-wheel drive system to it, and make it cheaper than the ZR1? That doesn't make any sense. So we have 2 options. There's 2 ways that GM can do this. Number 1, they make the ZORA option a performance checkbox. So while you're building the ZR1, you can check a box that says ZORA package, and it will add the E all-wheel drive motor to the front and thus give you a ZR1 ZORA, because then the ZR1 is still technically the most expensive car in the lineup. Or they go completely radical with it, and this doesn't even have a ZR1 engine in it. Now, there's been speculation that maybe they're going to put a Z06 engine in this with the E-Ray hybrid motor up front. I don't know that I necessarily see that one happening, because GM was very, very insistent on the fact that the Z06 engine was going to be bespoke to the Z06, and it was not going to find its way into another car. But if they were to do it that way, that would make the car cheaper than the ZR1 and still give us a nice performance boost. Somewhere right around 830 to 850 horsepower plus some additional torque over the Z06. Now, obviously, that's not as great as the 1,064 horsepower of the ZR1, but the ZR1's always supposed to be the top dog. I don't think the ZORA is going to be the top dog this time. If they do it that way, it would have to be slotted under the ZR1. But if they make the ZORA option a performance checkbox, then it could be slotted right alongside the ZR1. I'm curious what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comment section down below. How does GM make a C8 Corvette ZORA, but make it cheaper than the ZR1? Because the ZR1 from Taj himself is the most expensive C8 Corvette they're going to build. So anyway, guys, this is it. The car is at the Nurburgring with an electrification sticker, meaning this is definitely an electrified ZR1 to some degree. This has to be the ZORA. And the fact that the pictures here are showing a car that looks otherwise identical to a ZR1 and it's in camo really leaves me with a couple questions. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think the ZORA is going to be as far as powertrain and power, horsepower numbers and torque numbers? Let me know what your thoughts are. This is a really interesting kind of conversation to engage in because it's all speculation at this point. GM has been very tight-lipped about the ZR1 and even more tight-lipped about the ZORA. So let's talk about it down below. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. So if you liked what you saw, smash the thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content so we can continue to keep up with these news kind of videos. Subscribe if you haven't. And as always, guys, stay obsessed.